right. Welcome to another episode of the Bill DeMott Experience. Live. I'm Jeff. He's Bill, and we're live. Have I mentioned we're live?
Live.
Bill, man.
That's my boy band.
Live. It feels like we just talked a couple of days ago. Oh, wait, we just did.
We did. Monday.
How are you doing, man?
That went fast. That felt like we did that yesterday.
Yeah. How you doing?
That went fast. I'm doing good, man. How you doing? Live. I feel like one of the Backstreet Boys. Live.
Yeah, I think you could pull it off, a Backstreet Boy.
No, I'm more like a backstop boy. I'm more like a
backstop boy. Oh, well, thank all of you who are just now starting to come into the experience, we'll say here. We're live on social media, and of course, I'm live in Indiana. He's live in the sunshine state of Florida, and we're in the Jeff Townsend Media virtual recording space here that we've grown to love over the last month and a half.
The virtual recording space.
Well, I mean, we can't do it in person. That used to be like the cool thing where you'd bring somebody to your studio, and you don't even need that anymore.
No, that's old school, right?
Yeah. Bill, huge agenda today. More stuff than we could possibly cover has been submitted to us. But just to start things off, because it does relate to the foundation, I've had at least a dozen different people reach out and want to know your comments on it. I'm going to go ahead and this is what I'm going to do. I found a video from a local Fox affiliate down there.
Okay.
I want to say it was Fox 35.
Yep, Fox 35.
So just to kind of paint the picture, I'm going to share a short clip that they released Monday after all this went down with Tammy and the arrest. So just to kind of set the groundwork before we go into the discussion per the request of our listeners, I'm going to go ahead and pull that up here.
A WWE Hall of Famer will spend the next 17 years behind bars.
Tammy Sytch was drunk behind the wheel when she was in a crash that killed a 75-year-old man. Fox 35's Chris Lindsay is live in Volusia County tonight.
Possible. At the end, the judge decided that the best thing for Sytch and the community around her was to sentence her to nearly 2 decades worth of prison time.
A precious life was lost that tragic day. And I'm so incredibly sorry for that. I would ask that you give me the opportunity to atone for what I've done.
WWE Hall of Famer Tammy Sytch will spend the next 17 years in prison. That's short of the maximum sentence of 25 years. A judge sentenced her on Monday for DUI manslaughter. According to the state, it was at least her 4th DUI offense.
The facts of this case are fairly egregious. She runs a red light just prior to this accident, almost causes another accident, slams into the back of this decedent, Mr. Lassiter, so hard that he hits the car in front of him.
The man who died in the crash was 75-year-old Julian Lassiter, also known as Fran. Fran's daughter was also in court. She wasn't happy with the punishment. She says it wasn't enough for her.
We are a little bit disappointed in the outcome. I think it should have been a whole longer than what she agreed to.
The decision came after the defense said Sytch is a woman who suffers from multiple mental illnesses and substance abuse. Prosecutors said she should deal with her issues behind bars. James Penty, Sytch's ex-fiance, says it's a sad situation all the way around.
She'll literally be paroled to a nursing home. So, I mean, it's tragic for everybody involved. I feel terrible for the family.
In addition to the 17-year prison sentence, she'll serve 8 years of probation once she gets out. Reporting live in Volusia County, Chris Lindsay, Fox 35 News.
Were you there?
Yeah, I was there. I was live in the courtroom. For those who don't know what or have an idea of what we do at the Carrie Ann DeMott Foundation, a big part of what we do is deals with victim services, deals with families that have been affected and things like that. When this crash initially happened, and I can't talk about a lot of it naturally, but I will say that, yes, I was in the courtroom. I was in every court appearance that they had. And I got to say, I think they edited it well. And to paint a picture that was not even remotely close. It was, to be honest, it was infuriating to listen to.
Are you talking about that video?
Yeah.
I edited it. I edited it just courtesy
but the
of
news did the same
content. Yeah,
the news kind of went over it, and a lot of the focus was, I saw it on a lot of the social media platforms that everybody put it out, especially the news all over here, and then the wrestling world and everyone else is Tammy talking about how she's so sorry. Well, I just want to clear one thing up. And here's the thing, I'm talking as a father who's been affected by this. If you were so sorry and so ready to take accountability, then why'd you plead no contest? That wasn't brought up. She pled no contest, which means she didn't have to say she was guilty. She just knew she was going to get punished.
I mean, was there other legal benefits to that? Or, I mean,
no, there's the only benefit, if there is a benefit, that means you can't drag it out any longer. Like she knew she couldn't fight anymore or try to get any more depositions or anything like that. And the fact of the matter is this: the offender has all the rights. So she gets to plead no contest, which means she's not pleading guilty. She's not holding herself accountable, not being held accountable. But listen, at the end of the day, I'll say this, and there's a lot of things I'd like to say about it, but I just won't, for a bunch of reasons. One, because I don't believe the person who caused this tragedy deserves any more attention. So for the next 17 years, the Lassiter family has to now learn to try to move forward in life and life without Fran and, their father, their grandfather, their friend. I mean, this man was a very well-liked, well-known man in Daytona Beach. Here's the irony, Jeff. Fran Lassiter ran 2 recovery houses. His whole life's mission was to help other people live a better life.
They don't mention that on every news outlet.
Oh, they didn't mention that on the news, did they? But it was mentioned in the courtroom because we got to learn through the family, through his daughter, Whitney, and through his brother, who spoke so beautifully. But it's unfortunately, everybody's going to say, well, this is over, let's move on. As far as the public's concerned and everything else, I just hated to sit there, and I'll use the word hated. I don't like that word. We use it too much. But to sit there and listen to how WWE and wrestling was blamed for all of her problems and how Candido was blamed for all her problems, and none of it was her responsibility. 9 DUIs.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think they about got half of the amount of...
Yeah. 9 DUIs. Let's say that not only did she not have a license, she was never licensed in Florida to begin with, and she'd been here for years.
Really?
So there's so much that wasn't said, but the end of it is this. Now the Lassiter family, after having a year without their father, now the grieving process starts because this part of the journey's over. And that's the hardest part. And I think that's what people should, and I think I said this in a couple of my posts on Twitter or X, whatever it's called, Instagram, and people have asked me, and just because of that confidentiality and things, I don't want to get too far into it, but it's time to focus on the Lassiter family, and lack of a better term, let sleeping dogs lie. Whatever's going to happen in the next 17 years is going to happen. And, but and I'll tell you this, the boyfriend took a beating. In the first 8 minutes of that court opening on 9 o'clock on Monday morning, that boyfriend was blamed for everything. He stormed out. Everybody was blamed in this world except for Tammy Sytch. So I think it's a shame that it's another black mark on wrestling, because that's what people go by. She's a WWE Hall of Famer. And if you want to go back a full year, I called publicly to say this person should be removed because she's not what represents the world of professional wrestling. That's just the honest truth. And that's the way I feel. And that's what I said. And I got beat up, as I usually do on social media, but
we talked about it on this very podcast.
Yeah. This has gone on for a year. and again, I truly hope that the Lassiter family can now start the full grieving process and start to move forward. But it's, and the Chad Michael's right. Like every day, every 38 minutes now, it used to be every 52 minutes, someone was killed in a drunk driving crash. Now it's every 38 minutes or something like that. Over 10,000 people a year. We heard testimony the other day of an Uber Eats driver that saw her run red lights 2 blocks before the crash. People were trying to get out of the way.
Yeah, they even mentioned that nearly avoided accidents than before the accident.
The police did an excellent job. It's
but it's all reactive though. It's all reactive though. I mean, Bill, the judicial system in a lot of ways, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole this whole episode, but we lack proactive.
Yes,
we're more reactive, and I know that's what doing with the foundation, and there's other people out there as well advocating for it and doing a fine job. But we talked about it. You have 9 DUIs.
Come on, man. That's not counting. So let's put into perspective here. Let's just 9 DUIs. You've been in prison in 2 other states. You've broken those probations and those rehabs and those things you needed to do to square yourself away legally and everything else. And you kept repeating the same pattern of behavior until you killed someone. And now you want to say, give me a chance to be better. You know, that's the frustration. And listen, whether that's a WWE Hall of Famer or that's a football player or that's a guy, Joe Schmo from down the street, it's unacceptable. And that's the hardest part of going on these journeys. One, I relive day one of my family's tragedy every time I'm in court.
Yeah.
But our job is to support, console those that have been affected and help them move forward. So I think it's another terrible black mark on the industry because that's how she was known. I mean, to the point where blaming all the bumps and all the ring action over the years, she was blaming that for PTSD. I challenge someone to pull up 10 matches that Sonny's been in and wrestled and taking bumps. And, you know, all the things that came along with it. I mean, it was just a shame. And I think it bothered me more because I know this person for so long. But regardless of who you are, who you thought you were, what you thought you were entitled to, you took somebody's life and you're in prison. You know, you're not in jail. There's no weekends off. You're in prison for the next 17 years. And just for the sake of argument, and it's going to sound catty, she looked like hell. And
I'm the same person I remember Googling when I was...
Not the same person that broke AOL and did all these things, but here she is in court after technically murdering someone, trying to talk about all the Make-A-Wish kids she worked with. And it was just a tasteless, it's just a horrendous display. So, but I am glad that's off the docket, and you know, we move on to the next thing. But that's what the foundation is. We're proactive. That's what we're trying to avoid these things. And until we get to that point and everybody gets on that page, we're going to be reacting to things like this.
Yeah. And we certainly don't shy away from things here on the Bill DeMott.
Yeah, we don't.
It's obviously draining on you. I can't say I know how you or anybody else feels because I'm not in that situation, but I can just tell that it's how mentally and physically draining it is on you.
It just, you know, like I said earlier, it brings you back to day one. And, you know, and then I come home with that. So it you know, my family knows it weighs heavy on me. And just so you know, and I know you know this, but we'll let everybody know who's tuning in and stuff. I chose to become a victim's advocate, and I chose to open this victim services program we have in the foundation. So it's one of those things I have an idea of what goes on and what people go through, and I just want to make sure we're there to support them and help them as they go through their journey as well. So, but like I said, as far as it pertains to wrestling, I thought it was a black day in wrestling.
And it wasn't the only thing that's been brought up this week, but we won't go down that rabbit hole.
Yeah. So that's pretty much all I can really say about Tammy Sytch and that whole ordeal. I think I will say I think the state attorney of Volusia County did a great job. They were pushing for, and just to clarify, like here's a little bit of information. The mandatory maximum is 15 years in Florida for DUI manslaughter. So, like her defense attorney said, they got a bargain. That's the way they looked at it. They beat the system. So,
all right.
But it's a great question. I'm glad people were asking about it. Like you said, we don't shy away from it, but we also don't want to dwell on it and, be gloomy about it and stuff, because it's not going to bring Fran Lassiter back, and it's not going to put us in the best mood. Chad Michael, did CM Punk return? Where are you, under a rock? Chad Michael,
he is the most loyal live interactor here.
I just said, Chad, what a great question. And you said, did CM Punk return?
Oh, he's got to be ribbing you. Okay, so Chad and those other people listening live, we appreciate it. We actually talked about, and I'm sure you're aware, we talked about this in full detail on Monday. But, however, we do have more to talk about because we are actually recording this near the beginning of Monday Night Raw. So we did not touch up on the Monday Night Raw return. So let's do that. Let's do that real quick. Let's kick it off with CM Punk before we move on. He had his first promo on Monday Night Raw in nearly 10 years. A lot of people critiquing this promo. I think it's important to note that the time was cut down significantly.
Yes, if I understood it right, like 17 minutes or something.
Something like that. Randy Orton's, a bunch of stuff ran over for the show, and CM Punk got it with, 7 minutes left, which is not a lot when you go out there and you get cheered. And
sure, the first 5 minutes of it is all fan interaction.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off by reading it, then we'll share the very end part of it.
Okay,
but
cool.
We're not going to share the whole 7-minute clip. WWE probably would not like that.
Okay.
Anyways, he says, looks like hell froze over. And when I mean hell froze over, this is me standing in a WWE ring on Monday Night Raw with a live microphone in my hand. That's pretty powerful, right?
Yeah.
He says, I have to be me, right? And lately I've been feeling a little bit more like myself since Saturday, which was a career highlight for me. I'm trying to come up with the words to explain to all of you exactly how I feel. I've come to 2 words. I'm afraid to say them, honestly. It's not because they are not true. It's because of how true they actually are. It's a little bit corny and a little bit cheesy and not very CM Punk-like, but I've changed. And it got a little bit of small heckling when that happened. And he said, an American dream once taught me, as long as you speak from the heart, you cannot go wrong because it is the truth. And this is the truth. I'm home, which led to a massive pop.
Yeah.
It makes me feel like my old self because this is where I belong. This is home. And I've been gone for 10 years. For over 10 years, you people have never forgot me. Maybe when I wanted to forget me. That is powerful. Countless countries, arenas all over the world, people watching at home never stopped chanting my name. The voiceless found their voice. I could never be so proud of you, and that is why I'm back. I love you guys, and I wish I never had to leave. But once upon a time, a wise man, wonder who that is, told me to get everything I need out of this place, I'd have to leave and come back. I hate to say the wise man was right, but that is why I am back, so I can get everything I need from this place. I'm back for you because you are home. Saturday night was an amazing moment. Monday night is an amazing moment. It feels like a family reunion. Everybody back there is happy to see me. It's all smiles. A few people kiss me on the mouth. It's welcome back home. We've missed you. How's AJ? And ladies and gentlemen, I'm here to tell you AJ is fabulous and sends her regards. We'll pick back up here in just a few moments on the rest of it. But how cool was it to hear him throw in AJ even? Because it kind of seemed like she couldn't be talked about for years, for whatever reason.
And it's not like she, and I say she, that's a big Vince McMahon no-nos, pronouns.
Pronouns, pal.
It's not like AJ was like on blacklist or don't talk. It's just that they stayed away from all things Punk related. And so it seems like all, the gloves are off and everybody's shaking hands. And Hunter said it the same way. Punk's changed. He's changed. The company's changed. The vision, while the vision is the same, the atmosphere's changed. And like we said on Monday, when it's time and it's something you can make money with, and if everybody has the kumbaya and can do business, it's great.
I'll go ahead and share the rest of it real quick. Then we'll
Okay.
then we'll wrap up talking about it. Let's see what we got here.
Everybody has welcomed me back with open arms. Well, almost everybody. Some people are afraid. They're afraid of the truth. They're afraid of what they don't understand, but I understand. Everything I've ever wanted has always been here. The competition here, week in and week out, competes to be the best in the world, but the best in the world has not been here for almost 10 years. I understand being afraid. They're afraid that I just set the bar to an unattainable level. They're afraid that the brass ring is in my back pocket and they can't grab it. They're afraid that the most dangerous and controversial, feared man in this industry just walked through the front door and there's nothing that they can do about it. Some people are afraid that tomorrow morning when they wake up, they're going to have to come to terms with the fact that their best efforts at being the best in the world, in this ring, on this microphone, even at commentary, isn't just false, but it's a lie. Because the best in the world is back, and the best in the world is standing in the middle of the ring, live and in living color in Nashville, Tennessee, on a Monday night, and his name is...
Man, did they say his name or what?
Yeah.
He did also throw in there at the end, I'm not here to make friends, I'm here to make money, as it was going off air.
Right.
A lot of people gave this it kind of crapped on it a little bit for being cheesy, being soft. But Bill, first of all, he was at a rush for time, but how else could he come back? What else could he say? I mean, this is a heck of an opportunity for him. Sure,
Yeah.
he's thankful.
Yeah, I think he had to put 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag here. That promo would probably usually be about 12, 15 minutes, easy, for him to say it and deliver it the way he wanted to and get the responses, that I think he thinks it deserved. But I thought it was good. Here's the thing, that the wrestling community instantly went from Saturday Punk's back to, by the end of Monday night and into Tuesday, they were divided again. He's stirring the pot. He's just here for the money. He's not here for friends. Like, people, this is sports entertainment. This is stuff that's been said for the past 100 years to live crowds. And and here's the thing, the wrestling community, I think, ruins it for the wrestling community. Not the wrestlers, the fans, the wrestling community, the universe. Everybody went from so pumped that he's there, and then he spoke Monday, and now everybody's reading into it. And now and this is what wrestling's all about. And they really enjoy it, man. Enjoy it. I can't wait to see what he does.
We have more CM Punk stuff, but let's start off with the next thing here. So a lot of the wrestling journalists, somehow it's leaked and they've ran with it, that he has a behavioral clause in his contract.
I saw that.
I mean, I think every contract has a behavioral clause to an extent. If you act in such a manner that's I guess, negative to the company, you could be terminated. So therefore, I think everybody has. I do in my place of employment.
It's in the NFL. It's in the NBA. It's in Major League Baseball. It's in soccer. It's in if you're a Las Vegas showgirl, if you're in entertainment, if it's all these things, anything to damage the brand, there's an out in everybody's contract, no matter who you are. So
you think people? I guess what I'm asking is, are people really building this up a little too much?
Yeah, I think people are now waiting for the other shoe to drop. Instead of enjoying it, much like AEW, instead of enjoying it, a lot of things came into play, and it's just not going to happen in the WWE. So I feel like they're wasting their time, and stop looking for that low-hanging fruit and enjoy the ride.
Even when he was there before and the weight of the world he felt like was on his shoulders, he was injured.
Yeah.
It didn't stop the train. It didn't derail the train at all. It did derail the AEW train.
Yeah.
A little bit. It did not the WWE train. They just kept going on, and they just let him go home. They didn't even say anything to him after I think Vince McMahon called him once, said, "Hey, pal, you ready to come back?" And that was about it.
Yeah.
And they served him his termination. But that's not the only thing that's come out this week, Bill, and I have a video clip about this. I don't know how this leaks, and I feel sorry for it. Bryan Danielson. So there's been news leak this week, and I'll share it before I get too far into it here. But we always heard Tony Khan saying that Phil Brooks, CM Punk, was terminated with cause. With cause. And there was a internal investigation done with outside people and inside people, however it was worded. So we come to find out there was Daniel Bryan leading this up. And then I'm not sure else, another attorneys but the Wrestling Observer, our good friends there, did touch up on this a little bit and even showed a little bit of disdain for this leaking, I guess, in regards to it doesn't really do any good for Daniel Bryan.
Longtime CM Punk friend and former in-ring adversary, Bryan Danielson headed up a small disciplinary committee that made the decision to fire Punk from AEW, according to Fightful. He was flanked by a 3-person committee, AEW General Counsel Chris Peck, outside attorney, that came together quickly after the events of All Out. Mega was not involved, as she had already stepped down from a majority of her duties to focus on Khan's NFL team instead. That's a big story that no one's talking about. Mega is gone. She's just doing the NFL stuff now. So I had heard that Danielson was the guy that pretty much told Tony, guy's got to go. And he did.
Oh, my God. It's not that he came to that
And by the way, did you see that tweet Danielson did on Monday?
I did.
About doing the right thing or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea what he was talking about at the time. Now I know. It was a reference to this story that broke.
Tony Khan got on there and said he was fearing for his life. Why did he need Daniel Bryan to sit down with 2 other outside attorneys? The attorneys I can understand. But did you need Daniel Bryan? Why did this come out?
I don't know why it came out, but here's the thing, Mike.
Benefit Bryan Danielson.
Here's the thing. He said he feared for his life when he was announcing that Punk had been fired. So the fact is, if
he thought there was going to be retaliation?
Well, no. My point is, if he had decided to keep CM Punk, he would not have said that. He would not have said that he feared for his life. But he did say that because he fired.
Ridiculous.
That's what he said. I wasn't there.
This is an insane.
Maybe
thing.
He did fear for his life.
This is an insane thing, the way it goes down where Bryan Danielson, and now it's being put on him, whether, again, he was one part of 3 people, but now it's always going to be on him that he's the one who made the decision. This is not good.
Well, at the end of the day, Tony Khan made the decision. I mean, let's be honest here. This ain't John Laurinaitis.
And here's the tweet that he sent out. My dad always told me the right thing is often the hardest thing to do. It won't always make the most money. It won't always be the most popular, but it's still the right thing.
I'm gonna go with how you start. Like this needed to be known as much as who the producers are of every match needs to be known. It's not relevant, but the fact that that has to come from within.
Yeah.
That has to come from within,
and it's not Bryan. I'll tell you that.
Whoever the within is detrimental to AEW's future. And I say whoever with a very short list. Like, stay off social media, Mr. Person. Stop putting things out there that don't need to be out there, and then stop putting out, telling how much the guy did for your business. You feared for your, they said it, all these things they bring up because now they've opened the door. They said Daniel Bryan's the one responsible for this. So here we go again. Everything about AEW is negative this week. In my opinion, the things that I've seen and listened to and the things that we're going to talk about, all the negativity keeps coming back, right? It's just, I don't know, man. It's not necessary.
We talked about this on Monday, and I asked you if this same scenario is happening where CM Punk was, and it did happen before, and they did it not a very good job of concealing the fact he was going to premiere on Rampage. Right. But I asked you, in this scenario, would it have leaked? You said, would it have leaked? Of course it will, but yeah, this is another example of that.
It's a bunch of schoolgirls running the playground here. Someone's got to be higher in the know than someone else, and I'm going to prove how I know more than you. I'm going to tell you what happened. So you have all this going on, and I know I'm jumping the gun, but you got QT Marshall walking away. You got Britt Baker blowing up Twitter or X or whatever it's called, complaining about all these things. And nobody knows it. And here's the thing. Me, I'm going to say it. Here's the thing that bothers me. Everybody talking about it is using the terms work and shoot. How about you just enjoy the product and stop it? But the negativity, and it doesn't paint Daniel Bryan in a good light at all. And it also tells me that Tony Khan doesn't have the chutzpah to stand up and say, this was my call. This is my company. This was my call. People need to appreciate these legends.
People did, Chad Michael will just say, as you say, people need to appreciate these legends while they have them. In 5 to 10 years, they'll probably all be retired. He also threw in AEW only has 7-star matches.
Yeah, that's Chad Michael. You're dead on with the 7-star matches. Yeah, but that's it. People don't want the wrestling fans don't. The true wrestling fans appreciate it, but wrestling fans in general now, because it's so open door and so I don't know what it is. So opinion. Like, people aren't watching for the sport or to be entertained. They're watching to see what happens next. Like, this is the worst version of a soap opera ever.
It's just people in this sort of in behind the scenes community, or I don't even just mean like journalists. I mean people that literally have probably too much interest in what goes on behind the scenes.
Yeah,
not a casual fan thing at all. Yeah, but no, you just got to kick back and enjoy it sometimes. And I think we could touch up on a few of the things you said. There's a lot of questions out there. Also, who's the devil character in AEW? What do you think, Bill? Who do you think that is? But yeah, QT Marshall's leaving. Even got tagged in with CM Punk somehow over the last week that we've heard. A lot of things going on that kind of overshadows. I do like this tournament they're doing. I like this point system they set up and all that, but a lot of it's just kind of going to the wayside, to your point.
Yeah, I think a lot of being invested in a product is word of mouth too. What else is drawing you in there other than what you see? And if it's all negative and it's all, in my opinion, Bush League stuff, then I have no interest in it. And I really have backed away from, just kind of watching it, because I feel like as soon as there's something that's going to supersede the athletes doing their thing, nobody's talking about it or watching that. They're wanting to know what's going to happen with this thing and this big story and all these other things. So I think it ruins it for a lot of people. I think it's just it's already a tough business to to navigate with social media and all the other things that are going on. But I hate to see it self-destructing from the back and people leaking things, and that never would have happened back in the day. It never would have happened.
So we touched up on the QT Marshall thing. The other thing you mentioned was Britt Baker. I'm paraphrasing her tweet here. She commented basically how she has had zero promo TV time this year, and then shared the fact that Christian and Adam Copeland had a significant amount of minutes. MJF had a significant amount of minutes. And to be honest with you, her boyfriend, Adam Cole, whenever he's there, him and MJF seem to have a significant amount of minutes. That's just a hard balance to find on when you're producing a television show, I think.
Well, and the thing is that I listened to I think Dreamer and LaGreca this morning or something. And they're talking.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because they're talking about how the women aren't getting as much time and everything else. Mm-hmm. Why does it have to be about women and men? Why is it just about exactly what you said? You have a 2-hour show or whatever it is, and there's certain time for things. We see Britt Baker sporadically anyway. All of a sudden she's been out, she's in the championship match, without going through what everybody else does. But I think it's we went through this with MJF threatening he's going to leave in 2024 and all those other things. And, from what I understand and read and people are talking about, he signed his deal, and that's why they don't address that anymore, right?
That's what Chad and Michael actually just said too. I heard he re-signed. Lord, I hope so for their sake.
And then so now Britt's doing the same thing. Now she's coming out and now she's disgruntled. So is everything the story they're going to try to make people? How long are we going to keep believing in these stories? Because if it's a storyline, great. But if it's not, the timing of it's horrendous. Because it's just more disgruntled people talking about. And who created that animal? Tony Khan created that animal because Britt Baker, for the first 2 years, walked on water. She was on everything, did everything on all the spin-off shows that didn't work and all this other stuff. And
it's not even her. It's Tony Khan's in charge of all of it ultimately.
Right. And so he had his chosen group of his special people, Britt being one of them. But now here come the legends and here come other people and here they come from all over the world and everywhere else. And now those people aren't getting I'm pretty sure her money hadn't gone down, but she's not getting the time and things she thinks she needs. So if that's the angle, great, let's see where it goes. But if it's not an angle and it's not part of a storyline, this is bad timing for AEW.
Yeah, and a lot of this stuff that we hear there's more of this come out this week also. Dutch Mantell and James, Wrestling Shoot interviews, have a podcast, Storytime with Dutch Mantell. Love the podcast. Tully Blanchard did an interview with James. James released this information a little bit early. In Tully's 2+ years there, and he also spoke on the behalf of Arn, never once were they approached or asked for any advice. And we talked about this in detail, so it's not a rabbit hole we're going to go down right now, but that just goes to show you what, and I don't know for a fact, but it seems like the focus is on the wrong thing. I mean, you got the opportunity to get better. And AEW is if done right, is a good place to do that. Well, but it just doesn't seem to be what's happening.
Well, let me ask you this, because I haven't followed up on this, and I don't want to misspeak, but did Moxley make a statement about they have to remember why they started this company and not to lose who they are?
I don't know. All I heard Moxley say was, "You don't want to know what I think about CM Punk going to whatever."
Well, but that's my thing. Like, I think they started out as this alternate world to wrestling,
alternate world to WWE.
Oh yes. Now
they have WWE.
Now they have WWE coming in, but they still want to wrestle their way and do things their way.
Mm-hmm.
But now the originals are unhappy because of the direction it's going in. The legends are coming in and not being utilized to help the company move forward. And it just seems like a whole lot of let's go back to the Stevie Richards conversation. Hey, a whole lot of money, people are getting paid, and we don't want them to lose their jobs. But this is, I don't know. I don't see you have all the money in the world. You have all the tools necessary to make this a sturdy. Listen, wrestling business isn't 100% pretty, but this stuff that's coming out and the things that are going on just seem so counterproductive to what you're trying to do. And I don't know. Then it's you have F-bombs going live and that the things that people are talking about, right, in the show. That's my point. That's my whole point is nobody's talking about the business at hand.
They want to be the alternative, which they are. And you got to find a happy middle ground, because as much as I watch AEW, I know I'm going to probably see a couple good matches a night.
Yeah.
Wrestling wise. And if you want to have really long wrestling matches on your show, that's fine, but you're probably not going to have much promo time.
And look at your roster.
Yeah, but your wrestling machines on there.
How do you
technically wrestling skilled machines on there? Yeah.
And you have all this talent and all these women and all these people, and you know, listen, it's not easy to be creative and book these things and make everybody happy, but you got 3 shows to do it, and all 3 are falling short because your talent aren't happy wherever they're at, and they, you know, I don't know.
We got a good way to sum up this conversation here. Let's finish it up with another. We've been hearing a lot this week. Jade Cargill, Triple H talked about her at the press conference, and in a very professional way, he basically said she didn't get developed properly in AEW is how most people are taking it. That's not a word for word, so we'll go ahead and share that here.
We were scheduled for one more question, and we'll head to the front row.
Hello, Steve Hall from Tenkan Wrestling News Co. With Jade Cargill missing from TV recently, is there plans for her development coming forth? Because we're seeing her on NXT, Raw, and SmackDown. Now we really haven't seen her. Thank you so much for moving that.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
I couldn't decide
which
way to look.
Which eye to look at. But where has she been? Because she was on TV, now she hasn't been.
Yeah, so look, Jade is I have no less belief in her now than I did then. It's interesting when she came in, we talked about her development and where she would land, but what the development was. I want to make sure that no matter what is thrown at Jade Cargill, she's ready. And at no fault of her own, I think that she was limited in that, right? So the idea is, we exposed her, we made her be seen. People are understanding and they're waiting and they're excited for her to come. And when she does, it's going to be massive. And I just think that we're just making sure that when she's ready, I don't want a pitch to get thrown at her that she's never seen before. I want, no matter what that pitch is, she's going to crack that thing out of the park, because you can see it in her. That's the presence she has. That's the star she is. You've yet to see her do anything in WWE, and yet I could probably name 5-10 people here where you would go like, "Ooh, that's a dream match," right? Like without her doing a thing. So I'm in no rush for her to. When she says, "I'm ready," I'm ready.
Boom. I mean, I think we talked about this a little bit, and
we have quite a bit about AEW and how the fact that their lack of developmental will catch up to them eventually.
Well, you took a lot of green kids, right? Now you've taken a lot of experience from New Japan and Impact. You had Impact coming in, and when you started, you had the Bucks, and totally been around now Jericho and Omega. But you took a lot of green kids and you shoved them out there. Jade Cargill, from the minute you saw her, she's a star.
Yeah.
But
Shaquille O'Neal thinks so. He's not the only one.
And again, pronouns, right? The Jade we saw was not good. It was always she was always, lack of a better term, a one-trick pony, right? It was always the same kind of match-esque thing. But
not her fault.
Not her fault, but no development. And then when you're not doing live events and house shows and things like that, that's less reps. The smartest career move she made was signing. Naturally, you're going to take Babe Ruth and put him in front of the world and go, he's part of my roster. But you're not necessarily going to pitch him the next night or let him hit until you're back at Yankee Stadium. Otherwise, and I said this to my good buddy, shout out to Coach Greg. We were at the baseball field last night for a holiday tournament. He asked me what I thought. And I said, if Jade Cargill was to come to TV right when they signed her, she would have the same lifespan of a Great Khali or someone like that. Come in, do the things that a big man does once we have no more use for him because he's, very limited, we forget about that person. And that's not what's going to happen with Jade Cargill. And that's the whole point of that developmental center, that performance center, that NXT. So don't even put her on NXT until she's comfortable. I love the idea until she's comfortable, until they're comfortable. When everybody can sit together and go, yep, Asuka, Charlotte, Becky, Bayley, Bianca, whoever. But the minute it goes like this, she's going to get the royal treatment and forgotten about and back to magazine shows and stuff. And it's going to be a fart in church. So I think they're taking their investment. They're doing the right thing with it. And Hunter has this way of making you understand that less is more. Don't be in a hurry because, and I've said this, you and I have talked about this, and I say to everybody I've ever sat with in front of my desk, don't be in a hurry to get there because unlike nowadays, you didn't come back. So I think they're doing the right thing. I think everybody's excited for the Jade thing, and they'll be really excited. The Royal Rumble's around the corner. You never know. And even if she was to make an appearance at the Rumble, doesn't necessarily mean she's going to stay there, right? Just make the appearance.
Yeah, and this particular clip, if you want to, it's part of that press scrum, but this particular clip on YouTube has a lot of interesting comments. And I think back to our previous conversations where a lot of people are saying she's had this many matches. She's only lost twice, I think. She's had this many matches. Like, how could she not be ready to at least do something? Well, you've talked about it before. There is a AEW way. There's a New Japan way. There's a WWE way. And she's in WWE now. She's got to learn things, and other people got to learn things the WWE way. Hence what you used to do as a profession.
And the other thing is, no matter how great of shape she's in, and we can see that she's a fitness anomaly. She looks amazing. But it doesn't mean she can protect other people. We've seen in AEW, she's manhandled some people. Some of it's been a little, I cringed a little bit now and then.
A little snug.
Not on her or anyone, but that's just where we're at.
Yeah.
So now she has she's played AAA ball for a while. Excuse the analogy. She's played AAA ball. She's gotten noticed. She wanted to get called up. She got called up, and now she realized she's not going to be a starter right away. But man, when she takes the field, and you heard Hunter say she's going to hit it out of the park. But that's always been the philosophy. It's the talent to get frustrated with that theory. I'm ready. Don't say it, because if you go, but they're going to protect that investment.
As they should.
Yeah, I agree.
Good discussion there on the AEW front, and I guess sort of WWE also, but it actually relates to AEW pretty greatly. Bob Orton's Cast, one of our frequent listeners, wants to know, and I know the answer is no, but the answer for me was yes, so I went and found the clip. Did you hear what Jim Cornette had to say about the War Game matches, and he wanted to know if you agreed?
I did not hear, but I would love to hear it because I think I know.
But you know I got it.
Is there a comparison coming up?
There's what?
Is there a comparison of War Games coming up?
Well, it's more or less what we've talked about it before, how it's booked, scheduled. So so this is Jim Cornette's podcast, Of course, Jim Cornette.
Soft, equal women's wrestling 50-50 type of deal. Put it on another show so that they're not stepped on by the men's War Games.
In general, with WWE War Games, what do you think of the fact that they've changed it up? It isn't Dusty's War Games. There's no roof on the cage, for one thing.
Well, I like that they actually gave the rules, first of all, and they do somewhat stick to the rules, even if they've modified it. Having no roof on the cage, it does make it different than Hell in a Cell, which kind of, the only reason Hell in a Cell had a roof on it was because I stole it from the War Games. So this is all incestuous. I'm not that concerned about the roof because the goddamn thing's 15 feet high. Originally it wasn't. And I don't mind the teams at ringside being in a separate cage rather than being loose at ringside. I wish they were closer to the ring so they could be cheering each other on. That's really the only change that has been made.
I mean, they're doing high spots now off the top. I mean, Charlotte did a moonsault off the top of the cage. And
well, yeah, I mean, that's why they took the roof off of it so everybody can dive off of it. But that in itself wouldn't be a horrible thing. The biggest thing is bringing the furniture in. You don't need it. It's already a gimmick. It's so over. That furniture is so overdone in every fucking match. And then to be able to pull out chairs and tables and, fucking slide them in or throw them in or whatever the fuck. It's just so, and then it clutters the ring up so you have less space to motivate and operate safely to begin with. So the one thing I'd take out is the furniture. Make it different than every other fucking match ever held these days. Don't have any furniture. Either that or advertise the furniture. So, okay, we're going to have the War Games. We're going to have 5 tables, 8 chairs, 4 kendo sticks, a garbage can.
Brought to you by Home Depot.
There you go. And don't even worry about what wrestlers are in it because the furniture is the most important thing. Were you finished asking me a question to piss me off?
I think
I love the Jim Cornette Experience. If you listeners, Jim has a great mind for the bit. It's actually simple thinking, though, Bill. I mean, we've talked about this before. I told you that was my problem with the Chamber and Hell in a Cell.
And to Jim's point, if you're not going to advertise it, at least have the cage go all the way around the ring, so you're inside the cage when you're trying to pull out this piece of furniture. I thought the funniest part about the thing was there was a pipe fastened to the cage on the inside for Sami Zayn.
Ripped it off, yeah.
And you almost went, and then you thought Sami's ripping off a part of the cage, but the commentator said he's got a pipe. So what? They're cool. There's a and coming from someone, it'd be silly for me to say don't ever do that because I made Japan and ECW and everything. That's what we did. So, but I agree. I think it takes away from that aspect of being in the cage. As far as the other stuff, we know why it's never going to be the exact War Games because it's already considered Dusty's, and everything WWE does has to be WWE. So there's no roof, and people do things off the top into the ring and things like that. But I agree with Jim. I think I don't know what he said was what he was saying about the girls, but I thought the girls had a tremendous War Games match.
I think he was, because Jim Cornette's often one that likes things to come across realistic, I guess you could say.
Yep.
And that's often his bickering point. But I think he was trying to say, besides all of that,
yeah,
issue is, one, the redundance of having multiple ones on the same show, which you and I talked about, like I said, with the Chamber, Hell in a Cell. And then 2, the weapons, which were way over the top, particularly in this one. Before they went in the ring, everybody grabbed a damn weapon.
Yeah.
Now, I thought the trash can spot, and I did enjoy both of the matches. Let me say that. I did, and we'll know the ratings tomorrow, Dave Meltzer's ratings. We'll see if they get some 5-star matches like the AEW pay-per-view did the weekend prior. But I liked both of the matches. I thought they were great. And I actually liked the creativity of lowering the chain down and bringing the trash can in.
Yeah.
But just picking all these weapons up before you go in did seem a little bit silly. And I was very thankful Randy Orton didn't do that.
And it was like, and Jim touched on it when he was talking too. And the fact that you have all that stuff laying around, what's her name? And I don't mean it disrespectfully. She's back. Kairi Sane, she's back. Is that her name?
Yes. Yeah.
She did that spot on Shotzi on those chairs. It's not necessary. You're in a cage. You got, all these women that can do amazing things. 1 or 2 things, yeah, but by the time you had garbage cans and that immense garbage can lid that I don't know who built it or what garbage can it belonged to. Like she was swinging that thing like she was Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah.
But anyway, I agreed with Jim. I liked his take on it,
I thought both matches were good, though, and I do.
Oh, yeah.
And listening to the whole episode, Jim, he actually was had a lot of high praise for the Miz match with Gunter as well.
Yeah, well, like I said, everything that could have been talked about now the wrestling world and everybody, on our show and the other shows that we frequent and try to put over as much as we can as well. Now we get to talk about War Games, but we're a week behind. So something, the domino effect is we're going to miss something this week because we got to go back and talk about. We saw some really good matches at that.
And they didn't overbook the show. Like AEW's pay-per-views and WWE's in the past, some of those Manias and stuff, try to get so many matches in there. It seems like WWE's done with that.
Yeah, and it took a WCW to get WWE back on track, right? And now maybe it's taken something for them to go, okay, let's slow it down a little bit and we've got the people. There's a reason why they're with us again as strong as they are. Let's not change the flavor of ice cream just yet.
You got some moments where you get the Ruffles chips in there and you get some of the other characters. R-Truth had his big comeback.
Tremendous.
But you can't.
News conference was Triple H talking about, how about the big news? He's back.
Yeah. Triple H's sense of humor is good when he uses it.
It's highly underrated.
We'll have some of that on this day in pro wrestling history before we wrap things up later. Anyway, the matches were good, man. There was not the Escobar match just seemed off.
Yeah.
But everything else, I don't really have anything bad to say about it. I thought everything went well. I mean,
so if you look at it from a booking standpoint, as it was building, that Escobar match was the match that kind of brought it down a little bit, right? It wasn't, and then
we just didn't need the match with Dragon Lee. It was just kind of like,
yeah. I think as people watch, they know it's always sometimes. Listen, it's always something to change and something happens.
Injuries happen, yeah.
I feel to me, I feel like Escobar's being force fed to us right now. I think all of a sudden they're just trying to get it done. So I wonder if Dragon Lee's the guy to bring it out and whatever else. But back to Wargame, tremendous outing by everyone. I thought it was great.
We talked about Survivor Series, how successful it was, so we won't beat that down. The Elite Cronies on Twitter, they're awesome. So, Bill, man, and this Jeff Townsend virtual studio is just amazing. I love these features. Wanted to know if they wanted to know, first of all, do you call him Gunther or do you call him Gunther? And then they want to know if you saw him on the bump.
I call him Gunther because I'm from New Jersey and we'd never say him to anything. So it's Gunther. And no, I did not hear. What was he on about?
Well, I've got it.
Okay.
So in this particular conversation, they want to know what you thought about his comments on former Intercontinental champions, and I've got it. Let me pull it up.
If he bashes Pedro Morales, I'm gonna get off this podcast.
You're good there. Won't be that.
Okay, good.
So he's asked about some historically well-known great Intercontinental champions.
And a lot of fantastic WWE superstars have held this very title right here. And we wanted to get your thoughts on some of these former Intercontinental Championships. Here is a picture of Honky Tonk Man. What do you think of that guy right there?
Yeah, I don't think, not even in the same league.
And that's the man whose record you beat.
Yeah, that's just a number, but there's a difference between quality and quantity.
Now, was there a time at one point before you had the record where you looked up to him, where you idolized him, anything like that?
No.
Oh.
I didn't think so.
No.
I didn't. You seem to be on different paths, your careers.
Yeah.
And you both had great Intercontinental Championship reigns. Another man who held that championship with prestige is the Macho Man, Randy Savage. What did you think of the Macho Man as the IC champ?
Gotta respect that man. Very amazing career. And in general, I think a character that will always stick with our sport, even the decades to come, because it was so unique and it stood out in so many different ways. So, like I said, all my respects to the Macho Man.
So let's take a look at our next Intercontinental Champion.
Bret the Hitman Hart. There he is at SummerSlam 1991 with that Intercontinental Championship. Gunther, I'll start with you. Your thoughts on the Hitman?
I mean, I think it's obvious that, like, in ring, he's one of the best to ever do it. Very enjoyable, and he was very popular in Germany and Austria when I was growing up. So he was a big superstar there. But as Ludwig said before, I don't forget, and that man sat at my match in Cardiff and was not mentioning nice things after that. So he's not gonna get anything nice of me. Too bad he's not in the state anymore to settle this in the ring. I would be very interested.
Okay, well, let's take a look at our next Intercontinental Champion. One of the best ever, the Ultimate Warrior. You gotta love this guy, right, Gunter?
Those are the real dark ages.
Bodybuilders and
Dark
showman.
ages?
Yeah, look at that.
Look at that. He's one of the best WWE superstars of all time.
No, he's not.
What don't you like about Warrior?
He is a showman. He's not an athlete, not a professional wrestler. He's a showman. So now everybody knows why I had to be the one to keep this title for the longest time in history, to wash its reputation clean and set it to a new standard, because
the man who beat the Honky Tonk Man, of course, in just a matter of seconds, and then you took care of that. So that's why he's the greatest.
It's a good matchup.
It's a good matchup.
I love this modern WWE where they kind of let them have a little bit more free reins. They're letting them do a lot more media stuff as of recent. I don't know if that's a Triple H thing or what, man, but they're getting out and about a little bit more and kind of being allowed to do their own thing.
I think we talked about this. I think I was on I didn't like when Gunther started talking. And I'm still on that bandwagon. Don't get me wrong. He speaks great. The character, everything about it's great. But the less he says, the more for me as a fan, the more I'd be interested in because they asked that question, what do you think of him? And he just went, no. He's a one-word guy in my opinion, but that's neither here or there. I would love to see him. To me, he's the Red Skull in Captain America. He's Red Skull. And so the less he says and his actions speak for themselves. But to your point, I love that they have that freedom with a line to it. You know what I mean? But I think it's great, and I think it brings people in.
No love for the Ultimate Warrior.
No love for Honky Tonk. No respect for the Ultimate Warrior whatsoever.
Yeah,
whatsoever.
They almost seemed at first they were trying to rush through it once he kind of was beaten down on the Honky Tonk Man. Then they realized it just wasn't going to get much better, but it probably got to the Warrior.
Yeah.
I agree with what he said, though, really. I mean, obviously Ultimate Warrior was a big part of things for a while, but to his point, definitely the focus is on the showmanship.
And especially that time,
Yeah, which is what it was at that time, but he's more of the sport aspect. Actually, Daniel Cormier, he's a UFC icon.
Yeah.
And he's actually on he's kind of on a face of sports now. But he actually commented saying Gunther was his favorite WWE superstar of all time.
Yeah, I told you, I think I've mentioned this. My son thinks he's great. And it's just the way he handles himself. His moveset backs up who he is out of the ring. And so it's really I'm a fan, and I was a fan of him and The Miz, and I'd like to see them continue something. It wouldn't hurt, because otherwise Gunther's just going to keep walking through everybody. I'd like to see him in a storyline. A significant storyline.
And he will get there, I think.
Yeah.
But you can't always be in a significant one, I feel like.
Yeah, so that kind of goes back to the Jade Cargill conversation. They don't have to keep, we could not see Gunther for maybe a Monday or 2 Mondays, and he picks up right where he left off, right? Because they're not force-feeding him to us So we can wait for that, significant storyline. I think right now he's Teflon. You can't hurt him. He's in a good spot.
The Elite Cronies finish it off by asking, do you agree with what he said? It was like half in character, though, I feel.
Yeah. So I agree with Gunter, the character, what he said. Yes. Like, for his character, I'm a believer of everything that he said. Do I think it's reality based? No. So I can only give my opinions of those four men.
Because Honky Tonk Man had a lot of freaking heat, and Ultimate Warrior had a lot of kids, had a lot of people behind him.
In all four of those, you can go down the line of everything they've done for the business and have done. But to answer the question in a wrestling standpoint, I agree with everything Gunther, the character, said, because that's what I would expect from him.
Vince McMahon's mustache, and we're getting into all the goodies now. It says he recently listened to an episode of Maven's new show on YouTube.
Yeah.
Maven has a pretty up-and-coming it's actually going pretty well. He's very honest with things. And he says he listened to an episode of Maven's show about Wrestler's Court and wanted to know if you had a Wrestler's Court story. So instead of, I'll share Maven's Wrestler's Court story, and we'll discuss it. And you want to know your thoughts on Wrestler's Court.
Okay.
But the case from my time that I still remember the absolute best was for a guy who I feel was unceremoniously judged, and that was Muhammad Hassan. Go back to 2003. America finds itself in another war with the Middle East. Muhammad Hassan's debut happened in 2004, and his whole gimmick was being an Iranian American who suffered persecution at the hands of Americans, and he was speaking out against the prejudice he felt was directed towards him. Again, this was the character, the gimmick he was given, and in my opinion, probably one of the most difficult characters in the world to find longevity with. But that's not what would land Muhammad Hassan in Wrestler's Court. What landed him in court was the use of his finisher. Now, Muhammad used a version of the camel clutch as a finishing maneuver. Being that that was his finisher, he wanted to protect it like all wrestlers do. Eddie Guerrero's father invented the camel clutch. Muhammad Hassan was strictly paying homage to the Iron Sheik who used it, and he thought it would be smart to carry that forward. And I wasn't there, so I don't know how the conversation went, but supposedly he approached Eddie and asked if Eddie could not use that maneuver, that way protecting it when he used it as a finish. Muhammad, unaware that Eddie's dad invented the maneuver, was quick to learn when Eddie told him, "You only have this move because it originated in my family." Well, obviously, Hassan, who had heat backstage for whatever reason, once the boys found out that he went to one of the most respected wrestlers of all times, Eddie Guerrero, there was nowhere else for him to land but Wrestler's Court. So it was a day like every other, a TV taping. They gathered everyone together right outside of catering. And to be perfectly honest with you, my heart went out to Hassan. He was strapped with a very, very tough gimmick, one that was not only difficult to get over with the fans at that time, but a gimmick that was difficult with the boys backstage. Now, I don't remember exactly what Hassan's punishment was, but within 7 months, he would be out of the WWE.
I'll start it off. First of all, make sure you check out Maven's show on YouTube.
And comment on that goofy shirt he was wearing.
Tough Enough's Maven. Just like Maven had this hard to get past Tough Enough gimmick, Muhammad Hassan, once you are dressed up as and all presentation purpose as a terrorist, what can you do after that?
Nothing.
In the middle, I mean, but it would, be like changing what Iron Sheik and others were doing and other times that they did, but to the fullest extent, because they had him use like a crucifix when he strangled somebody. So they had it, and that wasn't him, I don't think, but they kept pushing the bar with him after these terrorist attacks. And what else could he have ever done after that?
It was understood that, he was and this guy I'm going to mention is my buddy, so I don't mean it disrespect, but he was, Duke the Dumpster Drosy. What were we going to do to him after that? So you're going to, back to Hassan, you're going to ride that as long as you can, understanding that it's cannon fodder. Let's get the most heat out of it as we can, and America wins, and we never see him again. And that's just the spot he was in. Doesn't justify his backstage heat.
And I can't speak on that, but I do know he's like a superintendent or something for a school district now, doing well.
He good-looking guy. I thought he spoke well. He was talented, but he was a little, my opinion, in the time I spent with him, a little, shall I say, LA Knight-ish. Very vocal, very opinionated, very, like, you got yourself in trouble every time you talk.
Wrestler's Court.
Wrestler's Court.
That was the second part of the question there.
I believe in it. I've never been pulled into Wrestler's Court. In WCW, it was the Kangaroo Court. But it's always Wrestler's Court. I have been part of some of the, I've seen some of the after effects of it.
Who was the judge normally?
Taker.
Undertaker. JBL play out. Yep.
And usually it'd be, you try to get some kind of babyface or someone to defend you. And when I say defend you, it was held like court. You presented your case. And, whatever Taker decided, that was it. But here's the thing. That was amongst the boys. That was in the locker room. That had nothing to do with Stephanie couldn't get involved, Vince couldn't get involved, Shane couldn't get involved. They couldn't tell us no, they couldn't do, and what was handed down in Wrestler's Court was amongst the talent. And there was no outside interference. And it was, and now I'll say that it was run that way. It was understood between the McMahons and that's the one thing that the boys had total control over.
Any Wrestler's Court that comes to your mind without indulging everything you don't want to share?
No, I usually hear. So the lighthearted part of it is usually if you wanted to get out of being in trouble for whatever reason, you ate somebody's donut or whatever, somebody decided to press charges on you. Usually, it's my understanding. I've never seen it or been around it. It's my understanding that a bottle of Jack Daniels and a case of beer went a long way to pleading your case,
especially with the Undertaker.
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Christian and Edge shared a story once with the writer Brian Danielson. He actually works for The Rock now.
Yep.
I don't remember what he gave the Undertaker. Some Harley Davidson. I don't remember exactly what it was. But yeah, to your point, that's usually how it goes.
You could usually sway the judge, and by the way, through the judge, be on the good side of the prosecution, and usually everything ended very amicably.
Maven kind of echoed what you said later on in the video as far as, and he called it a necessary evil.
Yep.
But typically lighthearted, never like a, but some could just be a disrespectful offense or
yeah, and that was a lot of it. A lot of, and in my experience early on, we got there, the WCW guys, as a group, we dug our own hole because it's a different mindset and everything else. But it's just, there's an opportunity in the WWE amongst the boys, and I'll say back then, when I say the boys, I'm I'm being specific to a group that, but something would come to the boys, they'd try to smarten you up first. You didn't just go to wrestler's court because you were a dummy or you did something one time. It's kind of like you've been shown the right way, you've been told, someone's trying to direct you, and you're still choosing to act this way. Well, now there's got to be, and I say like this, it's got to be a come to Jesus. And really, that's what wrestler's court was for. A lot of it was fun, but everything that was done with, it was serious. Like, and whatever the outcome was, that's what it was. And there was a lot of hard feelings sometimes, and people got over it. But once you realize what it was for the boys to police themselves. We're not all going to break bread together and have a, Thanksgiving dinner together, but we have to work together, live together, and have an understanding. So I thought it was good on one side for the morale, and on the other side, it was good for the morale.
Shout out to the ever-growing community for On This Day in Pro Wrestling History on TikTok, which in its short amount of time is nearing 10K.
Come on, dude. Keep going.
So the Ivan 007 on TikTok, and it's kind of, I don't know how we do this, but it kind of segues right along with what you just said. LA Knight, Bill, wanted to know if you agreed with Mick Foley on Busted Open Radio, what he said about LA Knight. So before we get into On This Day in Pro Wrestling History, I'll share real quick what Mick Foley said. And I know you're a big Busted Open fan.
Yeah.
Mick, I'll ask you your opinion on one more person. You got about 1 minute. Your take on LA Knight.
Yeah, like I said, I haven't been watching as much. I think it's funny when I hear Kevin Nash and LA Knight feuding. And he's like, I think Kevin's knock on him is he's a cross between Rock and Steve Austin. And I'm thinking, that's not a bad guy to be a cross between, like you're talking, look, you and I are looking face to face. We'll just grant you that we stole half of what we did from Terry Funk. The key is to make it your own. And this guy has made it his own. He's very sharp on the microphone. I mean, when you have John Cena coming in to be your backup, that's a major it's a major achievement and a sign to the fans. This guy should be taken seriously. He's catching fire. I know he didn't come out on top at the last PPV or whatever they're calling it these days. Major, right? Yeah, live event. Sky's kind of the limit, I mean, well, let's see where he goes. What's his gear? So that's the question. Like, he gets all of our attention, does it pretty very easily. And so we're going to see what gears he has to shift into in 2024. But certainly that guy, LA Knight, coming out on top in Royal Rumble would be a major sign, right? And I'd put him in my top 5 choices to win that Rumble.
The ultimate babyface, Mick Foley.
He really is.
He tries to keep everything even, and he's the ultimate babyface.
Well, what I wanted to ask you off this was, who were a couple people that you took some things and made it your own, changed it up on?
Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader. I was a big Gary Albright when Gary was in Japan. So it was all I was geared towards the Road Warriors, Jimmy Anvil Neidhart. All the big men that did things, I wanted to emulate a little bit of what they did, and then I tried to find those things like the Great Muta and the Moonsault and believe it or not, the 450 splash early in my career, and working all the the Mexican style for so long. I wanted to be a different big man, but with that impact. So I that's the golden rule of wrestling. You're stealing it. You didn't invent it. You're stealing it from someone, and you're trying to, like Mick said, make it your own.
Somebody in the chat just asked, and I won't put you on blast, I never did understand the Mark Henry World's Strongest Man gimmick. It wasn't a gimmick. Mark Henry won the highest level of the World's Strongest Man competition. Not a gimmick.
I watched Mark. I was in the I think it was live or it was a pre-day. I don't know.
It was a SmackDown, I think.
When he lifted the back of that limousine up.
Oh, yeah.
Whole cheese-a-loo, brother. I'm going to tell you something. We were sitting there goofing around because on the thing we had to make bets, right? But when he's warming up and just has that towel rolled up, good night. So I don't know how I could be put that's not a gimmick. That's the real deal.
Yeah, Mark Henry won the what is it, the Arnold?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Henry won the highest level of World's Strongest Man competition. That's not a gimmick. He actually earned that title.
Yeah, Olympian he's seen some the guy's like the gentle giant, but I've seen him do some things and
you wouldn't want to make it man. Imagine if we got a
hell. No.
I'd bet that nobody messed with Mark Henry backstage. I always hear about some pretty big, like you hear about Batista getting in skirmishes with Booker T and all.
Yeah.
But I bet you there was nobody messing with Mark Henry.
But because it depends on if you follow Mark and listen to him and some of the things he does. But I love when he's like a guest on something and he tells a story. Like he let it be known he was ready to throw. Like he took everything personally when he first got there. And that was his learning curve. But Mark had come out and said, I let everybody know you're going to know when we're going to go. And then nobody wants to see that. That man back then was huge. Now he's just an enormous man. He was huge. And he was as strong as a bull, man. I've never seen nothing like it.
Incredible. We do have, so to sum things up here, Bill, if you don't mind, we're going to do a few on the day in professional wrestling.
Yes, let's do it, man.
So we were out last week, so I'm going to go back a little bit. On the 22nd Survivor Series, a couple of awesome things happened. One was the premiere of The Undertaker, which I can't show you a footage of that because anything get put up under that will get flagged for copyright. Trust me, I found that out last week. So that was actually really cool when he was part of the $1 Million Man's team there. That was significant. But on that same night, there was something that happened, Bill, that was not quite as significant. And there was a huge buildup around this. What was inside of this egg? The egg is going to hatch at Survivor Series. What's going to be there? A lot of people thought it's Hulk Hogan. I mean, a lot of people thought it was going to be a bunch of crazy different things. This is what happened when the egg hatched.
A lot of us are looking forward to seeing this gigantic egg. Wherever that came from, I'm sure it had to hurt. Everybody has speculated as to what might be in the egg. Is it the Playmate of the Month? Who knows? I think that egg is ready to blow. Oh, there it is. What is it? What in the world? Oh, my God. I don't know. They got a pair of legs like my mother-in-law, pal. What in God's name is this? Don't tell me you're the gobbledygooker. You want me to what? Oh, no. I wouldn't do that, not in front of an audience like this.
Yeah, I think gobbledygooker's got him going here. I think he's won the heart of Hartford. He certainly has. Agile sucker, huh, for a bird? Oh, there goes Mean Gene. He's agile too, but a little bottom heavy. Something's just on fire. Yeah. Oh, wait. We're going now. Said, wait a minute. I don't know. Check this out. Are you saying goodbye? No. Whoa!
Mean Gene is the best part of that whole thing.
Oh, so yeah.
That was the equivalent. So maybe that's where they got the idea when Uncle Fred came crashing through the wall in WCW. There's a version of the
Yeah. 1990 Survivor Series, not the most glorious moment. That was kind of the way things were back then, though.
Yeah.
Kind of hokey, but that was way over the top hokey for that gobbledygooker to come out. It was, I never really got what the benefit of that was. It never led to anything.
I don't know if it was a dare because there wasn't. No,
they plug this egg all the time, though.
Here's the shocker for a lot of our listeners and viewers. There was no internet, so no one knew, right? But this was the biggest fart ever. When this happened, But to your point, that was the time. That was the time of it, and that was the beginning of the whole entertainment and really going over the top with some of this stuff. So it is funny you say it's 1990.
Yeah,
but I bet that's still one of the most watched things that have happened in WWE history.
I don't know. Probably considered one of the worst debuts.
Yeah, but Mean Gene always great when he.
Oh my God, you got legs like my mother-in-law, pal.
He was on all the time.
All right, see what we got next here. November 23rd, 2014, at WWE Survivor Series in St. Louis, Sting made his first WWE appearance during the main event to help Team Cena defeat the Authority, which meant that Triple H and Stephanie McMahon were no longer in power over the WWE roster.
God. How much more? Triple H, just bring out another official and end this thing. Of course. He's been in Triple H's pocket since day one. Oh my God! What? It's Sting! What the hell is he doing here? The franchise! The man who's never stepped foot inside WWE's arena before! Whoa! And Sting! Oh my God. And he pulls Ziggler into the cover of Seth Rollins. Hey guys, here's the cover. No! Team Cena wins!
Here's your winner, Dolph Ziggler and Team Cena!
Wasn't quite a CM Punk return, but the crowd went bananas for that. I remember watching that live.
Yeah.
You'd heard some rumors that it might happen. You certainly didn't know. And it was in the midst of this storyline with the Authority where they had, I don't know how to put it, screwed over Daniel Bryan. They had done all these things. The Authority, best for business is what they said. They ran John Cena out of town, and the only way he could come back is if his team win. Is something else that happened, I think, but the only way the Authority could get out of charge is if they ran this match. If they won this match, Team Cena. Yeah. And Cena actually eliminated pretty early on. I believe by, I don't want to butcher it, but was it a knockout punch, a weapon of mass destruction by Big Show?
Big Show, yeah.
And Ziggler at his finest carries the team the rest of the way. Then the ending, you get this Sting and a run that never really ended up being that great. I guess, Bill, my question to you is, how cool was this moment? But then, did Triple H really need to beat him at WrestleMania?
No, I think this moment in itself, I thought was really cool. I thought it might lead to, because, and I don't think I'm wrong in saying, I believe the majority of the wrestling world wanted to see Taker Sting. So we got the introduction. But then fast forward to your point, no, Triple H didn't need to beat him at Mania. It didn't do anything. It stopped everything there. He just, it's like we talk about now. He became just another one of the guys, another link in the chain. But anticlimactic, to say the least about Sting's time in WWE. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah. It ended too early.
Yeah.
It ended too fast. And part of it was because of that buckle bomb injury that he took from Rollins. But and he did have some stuff he did at Night of Champions and stuff with Rollins, but really didn't need to lose that. Even if he did face Triple H, I don't know what the benefit of, right. And I get they had all these run-ins with the WCW past and present and all that. I just don't get why that had to be the outcome.
Then the mentality, and this is, I think it's well documented amongst most that were successful in WWE from WCW, was you were going to lose.
The winner writes history.
Yeah, you were going to lose, because no matter what the business is, they're going to, that talent was going to have one up on you. And it wasn't an evil thing. It was just, hey, I think it's another way of showing that it's a Vince thing. This is my house, and we know who you are. But again, they didn't create Sting, so they didn't lose any investment other than, financially like that. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So you gotta take one now, kid, and we'll go from there. And like you said, it was short-lived, but I think that momentum didn't help.
I'm sure he made some good money though.
I think he's okay.
Next one was 11/25/1992, and I'm going to say the first coffin match. And I know people out there, because they already have, are going to say, that's not the first coffin match.
Yeah.
There was a casket match in 1980 with Dusty and Ivan Cole. I know that. But if you've actually really seen that match, it's not the same presentation. It's not the same thing as what I'm about to share with you. This is November 25th, 1992. It's The Undertaker. He's victorious over Kamala in the first ever coffin match.
We have seen the demise of The Undertaker, I believe. No one can take any more than that. Oh, wait a minute. Look at the urn. The urn is right in the ring. It doesn't belong on the apron. Wait a minute. I wouldn't touch that urn. Look at that. Look at that. Kamala doesn't want that urn. The Undertaker is up. And he sees a coffin come out. Oh, no. Did you see that? You're going to tombstone him? Yeah, but that's one thing. Now you gotta get him in the box to win the match. But it's not over until they can roll him in the coffin. Oh, look at that. He's in the coffin. He has work to do now. Oh, no. Can you imagine? No, I can't. Being on the inside. The Undertaker driving the nails into the coffin literally here. Imagine what's happening if you can hear those nails. Here is your winner.
What I couldn't show is it actually took him 15 minutes to nail the coffin closed. So that's one thing that's changed a little bit.
That seems like a lifetime ago.
Yeah.
God.
But Bill, it took him so long to nail that coffin.
To get and I'm sure
Paul Bear's following him around with the nails. He's actually just blasting some of them off. They're not even going in. But it took several minutes to get that coffin nailed in.
But you see the progression of the learning curve, right? Of like Jim says, the furniture use and the things that
yeah. See the progression of it. And it was actually, you had to pin him first too. Yeah. It progressed over time.
Then roll him.
We'll go to the 26th. This is in 2001 on WWF, Raw. The Undertaker turned heel in a segment with Jim Ross and Vince McMahon that led to Taker forcing JR to join the Mr. McMahon Kiss My Ass Club.
When it was all said and done, some way or another, they all kissed your ass. You know what the saddest thing about that is? The one that kissed your ass the most was me.
What?
11 years I've been here. 11 years I kissed your ass. I stayed, and I'm still putting up with your crap. So, JR, before I take care of this situation, were you going to kiss his ass?
Hell no, I'm going to kiss his ass. Hell no.
So, JR, tell me this. Is that because you're better than me?
What? Whoa! Look at Vince's face!
In front of your family and all these okey podunks, you are going to kiss his ass. Drop your pants. Pucker up, bitch. He can't kiss your ass till you're wearing the man's hat. Get over here and kiss his ass.
Oh my gosh! What has The Undertaker done? Look at McMahon! I cannot believe what I'm seeing!
Doesn't age very well, does it?
No, it doesn't age very well.
Pucker up.
All I kept thinking was, that you won't see that on the 55th anniversary.
No, you won't. But I remember this moment like crazy.
Funny stuff.
Weird way to turn the Undertaker heel.
Yeah.
And the second part of that is, what is with this weird relationship that Jim Ross and Vince McMahon have where he just humiliates him like that? And it's not always appreciated by Jim Ross, by the way.
And it's not always just on TV.
No.
Jim
Ross was a trooper, man. What weird things he did to him.
He's a man amongst men, JR.
He liked to
humiliate him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Humiliate him.
Weird turn, weird heel turn for the Undertaker that lasted for a while till he retired that gimmick. He did some Brothers of Destruction. He did that with Kane too, but weird heel turn though. I never really got that's why how he turned it.
You know, it didn't. But at the time, those things didn't have to be so solid, right? The end result, okay, Taker turn, but you got Vince running out his pants down and Kurt doing what he does, and so it was just the like now, if we were looking for that storyline, we'd be like, I get it. At the time, to me, it was like, it doesn't look at this. It's just mayhem.
2 hours with so little actual wrestling.
Yes.
When
he found that thing, when Vince found the thing that would make it click, wrestling, that's when he goes, we're not wrestlers, we're entertainers.
Jerry the King Lawler with JR not by his side, just continuing on the show, just what? Just the way he did everything. Special mention on the 27th, we won't show it, but it's when Undertaker became the youngest WWF champion at that point ever, when he defeated Hulk Hogan with some help from Ric Flair. This is the famous tombstone that Hulk Hogan said hurt him bad. Yeah. Looked like his head was about 2 feet from the mat. But we'll go ahead and skip that. I didn't want to bring that up, though. But the last one we're going to share for you here, get ready to pull it up here. This took place on November 29th, 1999. On an episode of Raw, the wedding between Stephanie McMahon and Test was interrupted by Triple H, who played a video revealing that he had secretly married and intoxicated Stephanie at a drive-through Las Vegas wedding chapel in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
That no family member or anybody not invited should not get involved in this. You should take a look at this. This is exactly the way I envisioned it my whole life. All these little fat cherubs with their wieners hanging out. Get your ass out here, come on. Hey, how you doing?
You're Triple H.
Damn straight I am.
Are you getting married?
That's what I'm here for.
Who are you marrying?
Stephanie McMahon.
Oh, wow.
I got 40 bucks and no time. Really necessary? I need you to...
Join me together and marry.
I need you to speed this up.
Hey, Hunter, will you take Stephanie for your wife?
Oh, you know I do.
And Stephanie, will you take Hunter for your husband?
Oh, yes, I do.
Stephanie, will you place the ring upon his
She'll
hand?
get it for you. There we go.
You, Hunter?
I, Stephanie, take you, Hunter. I promise to love, honor, and definitely obey everything you say.
I do pronounce you husband and wife. You are legally married. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks a bunch. You know,
congratulations and best wishes to
really
you,
great.
Stephanie.
Oh, yeah.
Have a beautiful life.
Hey, get a shot.
God bless you.
God bless you, too.
Bye-bye now.
Mr. and Mrs. Hunter Hurst Helmsley.
Not did we, but how many times did we consummate the marriage?
Triple H has married Stephanie McMahon.
It's okay, Steph. For God's sakes. When he's speaking for her, and I had to cut out so much, this segment was like 9 minutes long, which is insane. This video clip played forever, Bill. Yeah. So you had the actual beginning of the wedding, and then you had the fallout after it. This whole thing was like 15 minutes long.
Yeah. And but they, in those storylines, they went all out. They went all out. They made sure they put enough time into those things. But I remember that was funny.
Him speaking for her gets me every time, though. Hi, Stephanie.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, he just turns it. Yeah. I like when he pulls up, she's like, "You're Triple H." She's like, "Damn straight I am." Something like that. Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know if you'd see that these days either.
No.
Intoxicated, passed out, Stephanie McMahon
and yeah, no. But just what, like, I enjoy those on this day because, like I said, it brings me back to a different thing, and you get to watch. Because I firmly believe, I don't think I appreciate a lot of the wrestling while I was involved, right? Because you're involved and you're doing, you see, and you appreciate what everybody does. But now I get to see it differently. So on this day when they come up, I think it's a really cool segment to what we do. And
this is going right up against you guys at WCW too.
Yeah. Yeah, and we talked about it. We were watching them and they were watching us. And we found their stuff to be a lot more entertaining at times.
Special mention to, on this exact day, the 30th November, Conan on Nitro defeated Chris Jericho for the television championship. Big Conan fan. Big Conan fan, big Jericho fan. But yeah, big Conan's a good dude.
Was he part of Dungeon of Doom then when he's champion? Yes.
Pants were falling down and stuff.
Yes, he was part of Dungeon of Doom.
Conan's great. I know Conan doesn't have much free time on his hands to listen to anything else about what he does, but he's always a good chat with, goes out of his way to speak to those and has done with me. K-Dog's awesome. So yeah, Bill said it. Make sure you check out On This Day in Pro Wrestling History. It is on all the social media platforms, and I am trying so hard, and I'm hoping within the next 2 weeks, we'll also be streaming the Bill DeMott Experience live on TikTok. I am trying to get it where I'm in the Creators Club there, and I can do that. I think that would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
TikTok Live is starting to blow up, so I'd love to get in there. So you people listen on TikTok and Instagram, we're trying to get there, but man, they don't have the availability for that regularly. So
help us out.
Bill, another great episode, man.
I'm glad we kind of caught up to things on the news front. I see that go as we're getting ready to go into tomorrow night shows. But yeah, really, really good episode. I love the interaction now too. I like this format we're doing, and I love the interaction from the cats that are throwing the questions and getting involved. So this freaking great. That entrance and these questions, I'm happy all the time.
Make sure you continue to join us every week live, Bill DeMott Experience live at 9 p.m. We are going to try to keep pushing across other platforms, but find us on Twitter, Facebook. Now, podcast form comes up on YouTube, edited later. So not quite the same live interaction, because it wouldn't make sense if you were watching it later, honestly. But yeah, make sure you go to BillDeMott.com to check out all the other previous episodes. Contact us on social media. I'm at Podcast Father. He's at Bill DeMott. We have BillDeMottPod@gmail.com. Your closing words?
Do what you say what you mean what you do.
And I'm going to finish it off with keep being you and keep being great.